Trev's Top 10s here on Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. That's just too sweet. Anyway, now that the regular season, now that the 23-24 season is over, I can start closing this playlist. And this isn't the close of it, but it's getting pretty damn close. Like I do every season, I'm going to go over my 10 favorite moments of the 23-24 season. And, a lot of it was all from the observer standpoint. Like I said, I took the season off. I figured playoff time was a good time to come back. Here we are. But while I was observing, there's a lot of great moments. And I'm not going to lie, some of it, a good chunk of it, is playoff base. But you know what? There's still pretty damn good moments all the same. So, in no particular order, let's get to it. Now, I mean this in a positive light. But the Arizona situation is finally over. I mean, for decades of having to put up with, a reason why this team will succeed in the market they're in with the ownership they had. Insert laugh emoji here. To basically being shown how painfully obvious it was that it's just not working, at least not in the conditions they're under right now. But long term, it was always going to be the hiccup, the headache. And now hearing that the owner of what is the entity of the Phoenix Coyotes has decided, you know what, a billion is good enough for me, I'm out of here. Hearing that the franchise is essentially going from inactive to defunct. I mean, maybe this opens the door for somebody who's actually interested in hockey in Arizona to make it work. And maybe that's what they wanted all along. But either way, if reports are to be believed, what we know is the Arizona Coyotes is officially dead. But we'll wait till we hear something official. I mean, you have to put Matt Duchene's double OT series clinching goal against the Colorado Avalanche somewhere, right? Now, in putting this here, I don't know how much of it is from the standpoint of, hey, my wife's boy knocked out my wife's team, or the case of, hey, you guys gave up on me, you won a cup without me, but now I'm knocking you out. There's so many different angles you can look at this from, but either way, it was still pretty sweet. I enjoyed watching it. I mean, yeah, it meant Colorado was out of the playoffs, but in my mind, it worked out well, because in my mind, I thought Dallas was winning the cup this year. But I mean, hey, when you're right 52% of the time, you gotta be wrong 48% of the time. Either way, I digress. My bad, that was supposed to be 8. I mean, obviously a 7-game Stanley Cup final, right? I mean, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final is what everybody dreams of growing up, right? Especially the ones that go out to play hockey. I mean, the only thing cooler than a Game 7 Stanley Cup final is, overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. But a lot of it was how we got there. I mean, Florida had them dead to rights, up 3-0 before Edmonton won Game 4, 5, and 6 to tie up at 3-3, becoming the first team since 1945 to come back from 3-0 to force the Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, obviously, it didn't work out to their benefit, but we got a pretty exciting 7-game series out of it. And I mean, McDavid was on fire. Draisaitl not so much, but lots of good hockey being played in that time. But, of course, having said that, let's put up the proper number. Now we're on number 7. Obviously, it's got to be Florida winning the cup. Not so much just because it's the cup, it's because it's their first. Now, this is another one of those ones where it's like you got to really consider the back history of this team. 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, they were the talk of relocation. They were talk of being sold. They couldn't draw to sell out an arena to save their life. All of a sudden, now they're building a contending team, and they're building a playoff team. And they win the President's Trophy one year and lose the cup the next, and then win the cup the next year there. And it's like, wow. For a team that was so far gone and so far done, to come back and win the cup. And all it took was a couple bold moves, drafting right, signing the right guys, and you got yourself on the cup for at least the next 60-some years. I like the success story. That's what I'm trying to say. The race for the Art Ross, till it wasn't a race. For a good chunk of the month of March, this was your race. And I'm not gonna lie, there were moments where I thought it could have went either way. It could have been McDavid's. I thought Kucherov would have came solid number 2, and well, McKinnon I didn't think was gonna take number 1 anyway. I thought at best second place, and then it became a race of 2, and went right down to the wire. Only being separated by 4 points. Kucherov obviously won the Art Ross with 144. McKinnon had 140. And if this is the kind of race we saw this year, imagine what we're going to see in the next couple of years, especially if these two are just getting warmed up. It's going to be an interesting race either way, I'm sure, whether it's these two, whether it's those three, yet someone new to the mix. The race for the Art Ross can always be pretty exciting. Speaking of Kucherov and McDavid, both players hitting 100 assists. This hasn't been done since Gretzky Lemieux. I mean, for McDavid, obviously a lot of people expected him to be in the conversation for 100 assists. And then Kucherov did it. Wow. Best playmakers in the league, showing really how good they are. And I mean, for a fan, it's exciting. It really is, just to watch. I mean, they set up some very beautiful plays. Take a look any given night. 9 times out of 10, they're on the highlight reel, and it's usually a pretty sick assist, or sometimes even a better goal. But to achieve 100 assists in one season, that's impressive. How about dueling Michigans on the same night, December 23rd, 2023? Zegras, obviously, his Michigan was not nearly as impressive to me since it came against Seattle. But the Bedard one, I mean, that one was sick. I would show you, but at the same time, I will say, hey, check it out for yourself. I don't want to get the copyright strike. They're both pretty sick, despite my bias on the Zegras one. But 2 in one night. Oh, I love Michigans. They're a lovely thing. Because I'm not biased at all. The road to 894. As it stands right now, we're at 853. So 41 to tie, 42 to break. Do I think it can happen next year? I want to say yes, but at the same time, I wouldn't be upset if it took a season beyond that. I mean, you don't really want to rush these things, do you? Let's just savor the moment. But I guarantee you at least a 30-goal season next season, but beyond that, we're pushing it. We're really pushing it. Either way, that record's so close, and I'm here for it. How about Matthews scoring 51 goals in 54 games? No, I'm not bringing this up just to put in Matthews or to include him or anything like that, but for the longest time, for many years actually, I've been calling for a 50-50 year. If he was 4 or 5 games quicker, we would have had that 50-50 year, and I wouldn't have even called it. So knowing we're that close, is it safe to say we can expect a 50-50 season from somebody, i.e. Matthews, in the coming future? Because that would be sweet. I'm not going to lie. I mean, having another 50-50 season in my lifetime, yes please. Number 1 should not be a surprise to anyone. Winter Classic. No, I'm not going to lie. I would have loved to have been there. I really would have. I mean, yes, those Seattle jerseys are gorgeous, and I love them, and I want one. The problem is they sold fast, and I'm not seeing a lot of stores actually stocking back up on them, but that's beside the point. But what was even better about this whole game? Well, it's got to be Joey Decord getting the shutout. The first shutout in Winter Classic history. Not outdoor game history, in Winter Classic history. So, there you go. A first for a Winter Classic, and it belongs to Seattle. It was a great game, too. So, that was my number 1 moment for the year. Feel free to give me your 10 favorite moments of the season. Feel free to give me your thoughts on my 10 favorite moments of the season. Either way, let me know what you think. Says another one of them Trev's top 10s here on Trev's Hockey Show. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you've made it to this point. And if you have made it to this point, just know that I do greatly appreciate that very, very much. So a thumbs up would be perfectly sufficient for me. You know, just to let me know you're here, just to let me know you're digging what I'm doing. That would be great. You know, if you see that red button that says subscribe all over it, if you're considering it, that would be a great idea. I would love it. It would make you feel good. It would make me feel good. It would help my algorithm. And we're on that push for 250, or for 500, sorry. I'm thinking halfway because we're 10 away from halfway, but let's make that push for 5. So moving forward, I got 2 more that I'm filming tonight. And I got a week full of videos. So either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for more videos from the Trev. Later.